All right, so today's goal is Premiere Pro. We're going to start to learn how to use that. This is the initial lesson. So in order to do a lot of things on Premiere Pro, we have to make sure that our files and our footage is organized in a way that we can understand it when we bring it into Premiere Pro. So our first step today will be to learn how to organize those files. We're going to rename some folders. We're going to create new folders and make sure that we know where all those folders are with our assets in them so that when we import them into Premiere Pro, we're all good to go. We're also going to learn the basic features of Premiere Pro, all the different panels that are offered on Premiere Pro and how we will use them. And then we're going to learn how to create a new project that involves importing footage and organizing that footage on Premiere Pro. So that is our goal today. First step that we are going to do in order to organize our footage is to create a folder on our desktop. Our desktop is the main screen that we see, so we're going to right click and we're going to click New and Folder. And when you do that, it will create a new folder, obviously, and it'll give you an opportunity to name it. We are going to name this folder My Nature Video. As you can see here, I've already done it. So go ahead and do that. And then we're going to open that folder. And within that folder, we're going to create 5 additional folders. One is going to be titled 01 underscore video footage, like you see here. The next one is 02 underscore photos. The next one is 03 underscore audio. 04 underscore Premiere projects, and 05 underscore exports. The reason we're doing this is so that we can organize our footage in a way that when we pull it into Premiere Pro, we know exactly what each item is and where we're pulling them from. So it's just a nice tidy way to clean up our files and organize our storage so we know right where to go. Once again, this is on our desktop. When you are taking files off of your SD card, you never want to take them directly from your SD card into Premiere Pro. That's a big no-no because that's a surefire way to either lose them or get warnings in Premiere Pro that they're not in the correct folder. So the reason we put them all in this folder is so that we can have them organized, we know right where they are, and they're not on our SD card. So you will take your footage from your SD card in most cases and put them into folders on your desktop. And most of the time we are going to pull that footage and we're going to organize them in a way that we have here. Okay. So a little trick that you can do is grab your File Explorer window, that's what we have here, and take it all the way to your left-hand side until you see this diagram pop up where it will cling to that left-hand side. And then click off to the blank space here on the right-hand side. Now on that right-hand side, we are going to open up a new window for File Explorer. So you're going to come down here to your File Explorer window and right click on it. That's the opposite mouse button that you typically would use. Right click on it and open File Explorer again. That's a new window. Now you are going to drag this one to the opposite side so that you have a dual screen here on your one single screen. You need to now import your footage from your SD card. So there's a couple different ways you can do that. You can enter your SD card into your computer and it will pop up here like mine says Seagate, and you can pull that footage from there. In this case, the footage has been provided for you. I have given you the footage on Canvas. Under Files, you can download the footage there. Or if you were with us yesterday, you saw that I just transferred the files to your computer from mine. So we need to get those files and we need to put them in our folders here on the left-hand side File Explorer. So they are currently in my Downloads folder, and that's where they will be on your computer if you download them somewhere else. If you're transferring from an SD card, it will be down here under this PC. Your SD card will show here and it will be in a folder in there. So mine's in the Downloads folder. So what I have here is 5 files. 3 of the files are video files. One is a JPEG, which is a photograph or a still. And then the 5th one is a WAV, which is an audio file. We're going to put these in their respective folders over here. So my video files, I'm going to select MP4, MOVs are all video files, so I'm going to drag them to video footage. My WAV file is an audio file. I'm going to drag it to audio. And my JPEG is a still frame or a photo, so I'm going to put that in the file photos, in the photos file. I can now close this window. And honestly, I can close this window too because I'm all done with that. Now the next step is you're going to find Premiere Pro on your desktop. So you can search for it here. My recommendation is some people are having trouble searching for it in the taskbar down below. So click the 4 Windows buttons and search for it for apps and settings and documents here. Okay. So search for it there. what you're looking for is Adobe Premiere Pro 2025. Please do not use Premiere Rush. That is something different, and we're not going to use that. So find on your computer where Premiere Pro is 2005. Once you find it, it's a good idea to right-click on it and pin it to your taskbar so that it's there for good. Okay, so now it'll be down here. You can open it from down there. So you're looking for that little box with the PR in it. Okay, when you open Premiere Pro, this will be the first window that you will see. It will welcome you to Premiere Pro, and you'll have some different features here. Some of you may get a tutorial video. That's okay too. You could just skip through it. But on this one here, what we are going to do is start a new project. So as you would expect, you would come up here and click New Project. The window that pops up wants you to immediately name your new project. We are going to name this My Nature Video. And for the location, you are now going to drop this down and choose a location. You are going to find that file folder on your desktop. That's My Nature Video. Double click it and start with number 4, Premiere Projects. That is the folder that you need to use for your project file. So a Premiere project file is saved in this projects folder, which is number 4. It's already named My Nature Video, so you're going to click Open and then Save, and that's where we want your project file, in that location. Template you're going to leave at none, and you can skip import mode. I'm not going to, because I'm going to show you exactly what it does. So when I click Replace, or I'm sorry, Create, I'll do that. You won't have to click Replace. Mine's only telling me that because I've already done this once. So this is the import screen that has popped up. Some of you click the box to skip this, and that's okay. This shows you import different footages that you can import, but we will skip it. So if this screen does pop up, you can go ahead and skip it. Okay, so now what we have here are our panels. These are called Premiere panels, and it's important to know what each of these panels does. The first one on the top left is called a source panel, and then we have a program panel. We have a properties panel, but I'm going to go ahead and close my properties panel. The only 4 that I want you to worry about today are the source panel, the program panel, the project panel, and the timeline panel. And we'll describe each one. I'm going to start with my project panel because that is probably one of the most important. It's definitely the most important to import your media. So we are going to double click in this project panel, and we are going to find our folder once again on our desktop titled My Nature Video. And we are going to pull our footage that we have, our files, from our folders. So video footage, I'm going to select all of those and click Open. Double click once again, go back one folder in my photos. I'm going to select my photo, and then finally double click one more time, go back and select my audio file. So now all 5 of our files should be in our project panel. If you end up looking at a screen that looks like this, or this, or this, that's okay. Just always click on this project panel to bring you back to where our projects are, or our files are. You can make this bigger. You can grab this, drag it up. If you have a bunch of files, you can drag it this way. And then a shortcut to know is if you press Control, if you're hovering over this, Control and then tilde, it will go full screen. All right? And then tilde down. I'm sorry, you don't even have to press Control. You just press tilde and it goes full screen. You can see them all. You press tilde again. That's on your keyboard. It's the little wiggly line. Press it and it goes full screen so you can see all of your files. Press it again and it goes back to this panel. Okay, so those are good things to know. This panel I would like to be more vertical, so I drag that down. So these are all like you can change the different sizes of them to whatever you are comfortable with. The most important thing is that you have these 4 panels. Okay, so what is the source panel? The source panel is a place where I can preview these footage down here and the different files that I have. I can preview them in my source panel. Not only can I preview them, but I can also do a couple neat things with them up in my projects or in my source panel. So to preview it, as you can see here in my project panel, I can scrub through it and kind of see. I'm not clicking anything, I'm just dragging my mouse and it shows me the video start to finish kind of fast, warp speed. But if I want to see it full screen, I'll double click it and it comes up here to my source panel. Now my source panel will be my area where I can preview what this looks like. Okay, so you can drag this this marker here, see your entire video from start to finish. You see the length of it. This is like full screen, or it depended on your resolution, things like that. You can fit it to your screen or you can shrink it down. It's up to you what you do here. Okay, so that's what that does. This will make the timeline longer, or the grid here longer or shorter, so you can actually see like by the second. If you get that smaller, if you drag it out, it shrinks the time from start to finish all the way out, so you can work start to finish. And then you have markers and different buttons here. What these do, probably the most important that I'm going to show you today, is obviously the play button. You can play it and it'll go through your video at the normal speed, okay? Or you press stop and it stops. You have buttons here that are, you can step back a frame. So if I stop it here, I can go back frame by frame, or I could go forward frame by frame. Okay, there's also shortcuts for that. Your arrows are your frame by frame. So your left arrow goes back, your right arrow goes forward. Your up arrow always goes back to the beginning, and your down arrow goes back to the end. So if you want to go automatically back to the beginning, press your up arrow. You have the ability to edit this video right here in this project panel, or in the source panel, I'm sorry, by, let's say we find a spot that we really want the video. I want to see it as soon as this river starts to come into view a little bit better, right there. So I have two ways to do this. I can mark in by clicking that, or I can just click I on my keyboard and it marks it in. When I find the end of when I want it to stop, I can click mark out, or I can click the O. And so there you go. It marks that video in and out, and it edits it down here. You can see exactly where I'm at. When you drag it down to your timeline, then that is exactly how it drags it, is from that mark in and mark out. So that's a cool way to do it. You can edit it. If you ever want to get rid of those, you can right click on them and you can clear in, clear out, right click on it, clear in, clear out, and it takes it back to its normal video. Okay, so that's the source panel. You can double click any of these and you can preview in your source panel what each of these videos looks like, start to finish, which is kind of cool. Waterfall here, same thing, start to finish. And then your WAV file, your audio file, start to finish. So you can hear it. If I press play, you'll hear the sound. Okay. If you can, same way, you can mark it in and out, you can trim it and take it down. Okay, so that's the preview. Preview photographs the same way. There's your preview. They obviously, I mean, don't have time like footage does, but you can if you want. And there are different layouts that you can have down here on your project panel. These can be established here. This is a list view. This is a icon view, and then freeform means you can drag them wherever you want. You can rearrange them if you kind of have an idea of what you want to do. I tend to like this one so I can see them and see exactly what I'm doing. I like to see those thumbnails. You can also see and organize here what's going on, but it's up to you how you prefer to view it. I'm going to get rid of this. This created it when I dragged it to the timeline. Okay, so the next one is the timeline that I want to talk about. Timeline is probably your most used feature in Premiere Pro because that's where you create your project. So let's say I want to drag I want to go my waterfall video first. So I will grab it over here and I will drag it over to my timeline and drop it. And you'll notice that it puts it in here. This is video 1, video 2, video 3, respectively, audio 1, audio 2, audio 3, and then a mixture of both, okay? So this is my first piece of footage that I'm looking at. I can drag it this way to trim it down, drag it this way to expand it out. I can trim it this way as well. I can take it back. So you can switch things up here too. If I want another video over here, I would just have to drag it over and put it here. I could put it on a different video bar so that they would overlay if I wanted it to. Don't know, there's reasons you can in future projects we'll talk about, but for this sake we're just going to butt them up next to each other. So we have two videos next to each other, and when you press play up here, I'm going to fast forward so we don't sit there. but the waterfall will now transition straight to the mountain. And that next video plays. So it just seamlessly goes. You can drag that marker back and press play. And then as you can see, it transitions, okay? And once again, your frame, you could go frame by frame with your right arrow, back frames with your left arrow, from to the finish of that first clip with your down arrow, to the next clip with your down arrow, back with your top arrow or your up arrow. So those are your video files. If I want to drag my audio file over, I'll bring it over to one of my audio bins here. My audio layers is what we call them, layers on all the Adobe products. And then now when you play it, the video will be accompanied by your audio. So, and you'll see the waveforms over here on the right-hand side. You'll notice that the volume is at an appropriate level, but you can change the volume here by dragging this up and down. So you can soften the audio or make it louder. So that's kind of a neat feature, but audio is in there too. If I make a mistake and I want to get rid of my audio, I can just delete it. But let's put it over there and let's sync it so that it's at the same, it starts at the beginning and my audio will stop at the end. So if you'll notice, my audio is much longer than my video. So I'm going to drag it all the way over here so that it ends at the end of my video. And when you get close to it, it will snap to the end of your video so that they sync. So now when I go to the end here, it stops, okay? So my video and my audio stops at the same time. All right, so that's step one there, is taking your footage over from your timeline down to, or I'm sorry, over from your project over to your timeline. Now, it's a good habit to always save your file. So come up here, there's a couple ways you could do it. You could click File and Save, and that saves your file, or you can click Control S on your keyboard, that also saves your file. Now, some good practice is to make sure that your file is saved is when you click this X. Right now, when I click it, it will close the program. But let's say I delete this. I've made a change, right? And then I go to click the X. It will automatically notice that I've made a change without saving and tell me either save or don't save. I'm going to cancel for now because I don't want to. But that's basically what it is. Your program up here, that's the last panel that I want to talk about. Your program panel is what your final product will look like. So when we put our two videos together, and let's shrink this down a little bit so I just have a smaller video. Shrink that down. Now let's shrink our audio down. And it snaps to it. Okay, so now I have a much smaller video. If I know I can only make a 30-second video, I will pay attention to my marks up here. All right, mark myself at 30 seconds. And then that's how I know. If you'll notice right here is my time. I can drag it right there over to 30 seconds. I know right there I need to stop my video. So if my goal is to make a 30-second video, let's take it to there. Let's take this to here. So now I have a 30-second video. All right, so when I press play, I have a 30-second video. And that was my goal, is to make that video. So I have now made some edits, so I'm going to click Control S and save it. That was our goal for today, was being able to import footage, understanding these panels. You'll need to know these panels because I'll test you on them later this week. I will individually ask you, hey, show me the source panel. You will point up here. I will ask you what it's called. Obviously, it's the source panel because I just asked you what it was. And you can tell me what the source panel does. You need to be able to tell me that that is where I'm going to preview my media that's in my project panel. Then I'll ask you, okay, what about your project panel? Tell me about that. That's where you import your files. So you can double click in here to import files. That's an important thing to know. If I wanted to import more files, there's multiple ways I can import files. I can drag them from my file explorer. I can drag them over, or I can, there's another video, I can drag it and drop it in there. Okay, so now I have a random file in there, but it's in there. So that's one way to import. I can also come up here and import files here from my computer. It's all here. Or I can come up here to File. I lied. I thought there was an import feature up here. Oh, there is, right here. So I can go up there to File when I'm not on the import. There we go. Import here. I can import there as well. Okay, so if I wanted to add this, I could. So if you'll notice now it's overlaid. I can change the size of that particular thing if I wanted to shrink it down. I could, the whole thing, or fit. And now when I play it, it's going to play that video over the top of my other video, which is kind of cool. So that's why you would put 2 layers there. And that'll go away. So that's how we do graphics. That's how we do some After Effects when we learn that, or lower thirds, things like that. We'll put them on top of it, but that's next thing. So the important thing that I wanted to get at today was to understand the panels that are in front of us, the timeline panel, the program panel, source panel, and project panel, what those do, how to import footage, how to preview footage, and how to put things in my timeline. Okay, so those are the important things. Up at the program panel, that's where we will view our final product. Before we export it, we will test it up there and make sure everything is synced up and ready to go. So yeah, you'll be able to edit some photos and get started now. So that's what we learned about today. Tomorrow, we're going to learn more about the timeline feature and some different things we can do, and we're going to start to put together the pieces of our first My Nature video. And then later in the week, we'll learn about bringing our other footage in from our interview and start to piece that together and start working on a project all on our own. So that's what we wanted to do today. So if you missed today, that's what you missed.